The Creeper is the shorter 89-minute cut with a title intended to fool people looking for a slasher pick. The original 100-minute cut was released in Canada under the name Rituals, so that's my first bit of advice. Watch the Rituals cut. Rituals was directed in 1976 by Peter Carter, who had already filled Canadian drive-ins with movies like The Rowdy Man, Highballin', and Klondike Fever. Carter was recruited to direct a knockoff to the 1972 box office smash Deliverance, this time set in the Canadian wilderness. By the time Rituals was shopped to the American market, John Carpenter's Halloween was his new box office smash, hence the name change and 10 minutes shaved off the runtime. So 5 city doctors take a break from civilization to head out in the woods for some male bonding, trekking to the most remote spot that they can find. The morning after their first night, they discover that someone unseen doesn't want them to leave. Calling a movie The Creeper sets up expectations about the one that's doing the creeping, and I'm telling you now that's a disappointment. There's nothing in the gorehounds in this movie. They may be the only audience that laughs based on the quality of the effects. The monster's not scary, and the more you think through his part of the story, the less it makes sense. But this isn't a horror film concerned with monsters or arterial sprays. This is a character drama about the capacity for horror within ourselves. Rituals is a survivalist horror story in the vein of The Descent or The Blair Witch Project. Most popular movies tend to suggest that turmoil can be a crucible, a teacher that provides the chance to find an unknown strength in ourselves and each other if we open ourselves to it. Movies like Rituals, on the other hand, remind the audience that sometimes turmoil brings out the worst in us. Sometimes we break. Rituals is not casual viewing. It watches like a stage play that just happened to be filmed in the woods. Nearly all the drama is reliant on the actors' line readings. Fortunately, the performers are up to the task. Leading the pack is Hal Holbrook, an American theatrical treasure and the best Mark Twain since the original. He's Harry, the ex-war vet in the crew, and he starts the story as the most moral and most haunted of the 5 doctors, which is all the more shocking when Harry turns into Rambo. Holbrook carries the film. In scenes where it seems like nothing's happening, you can find the conflict in his eyes, hear the tragic weight in his words. He's the movie's broken heart. Lawrence Dane plays Holbrook's foil, a guy named Mitzi, and his doctor knows how to get under Harry's skin instinctively. Their scenes are the most dynamic. He also gets the best death scene. Once the survivor's journey shifts above the tree line, about minute 57 in the Canadian cut, there's some beautiful shots that justify looking for the widescreen version. But then, we're indoors for the low-lit climax, this exposition dump in the dark that pivots to the most hardcore scene of the movie, the showdown with the stalker. Last 12 minutes of the movie, either cut. Is it a spoiler if it was on the VHS cover? I have the Creeper cut in my collection, and I couldn't finish it the first time. I was expecting a horror movie, and I got a slow and sludgy, choppy mess. It was in researching for this video that I discovered so many people raving about it, and then I found out about the Rituals cut and hunted that down. While the story's not significantly changed between the 2 cuts, I started to see what others liked about it. I'd be interested in a remake, on stage or screen. This is definitely a rated R movie, sure for the blood, but more because of the conversation that it encourages. True horror stories allow us to study the horrific in our world from a safe distance. And the true horror this story examines is our capacity for blindness to the harm that our ideals, our priorities, virtues, and values, our rituals, can do to the world around us. If you're up for having that conversation, this movie is not a bad place to start.